he's an evil that's going against their rights, right? Animal rights, where a creation, another creation like them, humans are acting like some god over them, taking away their rights, is the way they kill animals. Because they say things like, you cannot take care of them, there's not enough shelter, there's blah, blah, blah. Maybe there's too many of them outside. As if you have the right to take their life away because you think your own little buildings you built don't somehow have enough space. They're not supposed to be in your homes as your pets, and they're not supposed to be in your buildings as shelters or anything like that. They're their own species. That means they have the right to live here. Don't forget, animals are a species. God created them. So he's basically saying it's not just you and I, the human race, that have the right to live here. He's saying animals and pests have the right to live here. They have their own purposes. So the other evil that demons do is they connect their existence to you. They make it seem as if God created them for you or something, right? And if you don't find any purpose in them, then you can kill them. No, they just support you in this life. There's many ways they help you. They're not created for you like your own little blessing, like God gave you some beauty or something. Oh, that's yours. See, it. There's no it here. It's a they. It's a species. It's a creation. It has a life in it. So we should also stop calling them it. You know, if someone has ever called them it, don't call them it either. Call them they, just like any other living being. Call them they, he, she, give them names. So no one has the right to kill them. And the whole problem is caused by governments acting like gods, because demons are working through them and creating the situation in the first place that would lead to that situation of wanting to kill them. Because exactly, they're making it seem as if humans are supposed to shelter them. And if there's no one to take them as a shelter, or the government doesn't have food or enough water or shelter to take care of them in their buildings, then somehow you should just euthanize them. That word, euthanize. There's no such thing. Because you're basically saying you're their sustainer. You're acting as if you're their God or something. You're their protector. Look at the word I use, sustainer, that Islam uses for God Almighty or Allah. You're not their sustainer. So if there's some sort of limitation they have for survival, God is going to fix that. You're supposed to do the moral thing God taught you overall, which is right to help them. But your limitation, okay, there's a limitation for a reason. You're not their God. You just do the part he created you to do to help them. It doesn't mean that you and God are working together to help them. Whatever you do that's good is from him anyway. He taught you. Whatever ability you have to help them is from him. He gave you that ability. But you have an evil ability to do bad also, and that's not from him. That's your choice. He just created evil. Who does it is their choice. It's like a dark cloud over there. He just created it. Whoever wants to mix with it, that's their problem. So no one has the right to kill them for these reasons. No one has the right to kill them because they just say, oh, it's my pet. Maybe I should just make a decision for them. Or you don't get to make these decisions. In situations where they actually had a medical situation, then it's just supposed to be like you and I, the way that we have the right to live in these situations, right? No one is a predator, did something evil like murder or rape where they have no right to live. You kill them. But we're talking about situations where a human has the right to live and they didn't do something like that. They're not some predator or some weird criminal level at a level where you murder them, because there's different levels of criminality. They're not the high level, right? Okay. The same way a normal, healthy human has the right to live is the same way these animals have the right to live. In medical situations, you're supposed to make sure you protect them just like you protect your friends, your spouse, your children, your family, to make sure that they are giving them the best medical care. Because obviously they'll try to take advantage of them. And two, people don't study, right, the medical care for animals. So do some research, do some practicing of, what it looks like to be watching as a patient on the other side, the person for the patient, right? The animal is the patient, right? That sort of person for the patient who's there like a companion, a friend. Understand what that looks like. And now it's even easier. There's videos anyway. So that then you actually know what's going to happen and you can protect them because you actually know the medical side of it. Well, many things in human medical side, you already do know, right? You even if you didn't study, healthcare or medical school, it doesn't matter. You just understand it because you're the human body. So you need to do the same for them. You need to research. You need to understand. Even if you have to take them out of the country, you do that. Their life matters. Okay, but God is the one, right? When he personally does something where it's impossible for the knowledge he taught humans to take care of them, he just wants to take their life. It's just like you and I when he wants to take our life. So it's balanced, right? If you know it wasn't human fault, then let it go, because then that's still you acting like a God as if you could have saved them. We're all going to die, okay? You're not supposed to be here. So what else? Cutting their nails off and things like that, and changing their body parts, or making them into different gender appearance, or things like that you do to yourself. You don't get to change their nature. You don't get to torment them. You don't get to make one of them act the opposite gender, their nature. You don't get to do nothing to them. You don't get to make them act like a baby, like a human baby. You don't get to make them act like your friend. They have their own nature God gave them. Let them be that way. Okay, so you know how they have nails, right? God showed me that situation where a demon possessed this female. It was 2018. They were a Lyft driver. So they were talking randomly. This is how I know God is teaching me things. He just makes humans expose their sins to me or what they do because he's trying to teach me something. So since I don't have animals with me, there's certain things that God is going to tell me or show me what bad humans are doing to them. Through them talking. Okay, so this old lady just kept talking about how she has cats, and I felt it. God was showing me. You get me? He was saying to me, this is evil and a sin. Because the energy he was projecting to me when she was explaining it was nothing but when a God is warning you. So she kept talking about how she cuts the nails off of the cat. And she does that thing, I forgot the name. Something where it's like they take away their ability. What was it? They do something to them. It's like it takes away their ability to grow nails again or something. I don't. It was. I know that sounds weird, but I don't remember it. I don't remember what she said. But anyway, right, shape or form, you, a creation of God, the human species, is taking away the nature of an animal. You're changing their way. Is a sin the same way it is a sin for you to change your nature. So nails, right? They're obviously, if they grow too long, just as you would cut it for yourself, but are you going to do something to your nail? Are you going to destroy them? No, right? So that's the only thing that would be moral. That you look at the animal, right? They're not your pet, your animal companion, friend, you, right? The nail is too long in a way that you would say is dangerous. That's the only way that you would use something very simple and basic and not harmful and painful, right? To just show them you're trying to help them. You first talk to them just like a baby or a human adult. You explain to them what you're trying to do. Right? You make it fun and interactive. Look, I'm gonna like that help you with this. You point to it, then you clip their nails. Common sense. Don't just grab and be like, okay, here, we're going to do. What are you doing? Not only is that evil and abusive and, right, you being hostile, but two, it obviously scares them and they're not going to understand, even if what you're going to do wasn't going to be hurtful. And obviously, if you want to do something good, you wouldn't do that. Because the fact that you would behave this way would connect to the fact that your intention is bad anyway. I have to keep pausing, sorry, because they keep making really extremely mentally ill people walk by me. It's not, their demons are too much. They just have way too much evil energy. And they're very harmful, obviously, so I have to keep waiting. Because they make sure I don't see decent people anymore. Anyways, right? You, right, first have good intention, which is right, to stop changing their nature, stop doing evil things. But then two, you add the good intention with the quality of expressing the good intention in a way that the good intention is obvious. You talk to them, right? You explain it to them. You use that body language like with deaf people. You point to their nail. You get me like that, and then they understand it when they're ready. So don't ask them to, for example, say, I'm going to help you take a shower or clean you. And again, because they're still an animal, they're not like you. Certain chemicals and soaps and things are not for that. You get me? Just common sense. You have to remember they're not your species. So that gentle way of interacting with them. But then two, they don't have to follow your rules. You're not going to be like, I'm going to help you take a shower this night. If the animal doesn't want to shower that night, then you don't do anything. Do you understand me? It's not a thing you get to make decisions how to treat another species. It's not, you get me? You're not their God. So the same way you have the right to take a shower when you want, and if you feel sick today, you feel uncomfortable today, you just don't feel like it today, the same way your mood matters, the same way that's your human right. Okay, is the same way for their animal right. You're not going to have a pest, obviously, in these situations. The pest is kind of obvious. Just don't abuse them, right? Don't take them out of their natural habitat, right? Your home is not their habitat, so that's where you can push them out of. But in just logical ways, right? Um, if you're able to get them out peacefully, then you do that. Sometimes there's no choice. You have to use certain chemicals and things, and they die in the process. It's common sense. If you have a choice, then you don't kill them. But for the animals, you don't take them out of their natural habitat. Just so you guys know, every time they pick a more strange person to walk by me, a more evil human to walk by me, each time I attack these demons by praying for that person. So don't forget, I'm not sitting here and just constantly being like, ugh, to these human beings or something. No, I'm doing what God taught me. No matter how much I don't like them, right, because they're evil, that doesn't mean that we don't treat them right with the mercy God taught us to treat his creation. Many of them I can even tell. They project thoughts to me that they're very ugly or very poor or like that. It's demons who put that in your head, you know? You and I can be poor tomorrow, right? You and I can get sick and we can look horrible tomorrow like that. It's the fact that, one, they don't want us to remember a lot of the weaknesses many humans have is the weaknesses we have. They want us to be arrogant. It was always about arrogance. But then two, God did create human beings more beautiful than each other, right? That arrogance again, that blessing you have, they want you to then be like oof or ew to them. So just repent if it happens. You know, if you've done that before, but just treat them as human. And literally, when I said treat them as human, they made this kid walk by and they were saying to me, "Oh, he's so ugly. Look at this poor kid. Look at this weird kid." Literally, I told you guys in another episode, signs of the end of the world is you're just gonna see kids by themselves a lot, walking around a lot. Again, I'm in like a business place, like I'm someone with them. It's just they for some reason always make them go ahead of them and stuff, you know. But in streets, maybe you'll see them go to stores by themselves. That's not okay. That's demons doing that. They're trying to set these kids up for danger, and they're coming obviously out of very harmful narcissistic families. It's just that they've always done that, but now they're gonna do that at a higher level. You see that noise right now? I'm gonna pause the recording. Right? So they're using them to harass us because these are evil kids, just so you know. But then two, they're actually hoping that an evil human, right, of a higher level than the kid, right, actually harms them. You get me? But then two, they could be the same. Some kids are predators. They've raped children. You get me? Like that. So it could be the same level of evil. So they're just trying to increase as much evil that could happen. And normal human beings, they're trying to make you uncomfortable of seeing these things that are not normal. You know, and some of these kids are outside just to accuse people. They're actually agents of Satan now. So you need to be careful with them. I talk about that in the signs in the end of the world. So anyways, I was just giving you the example that a kid just walked by a building. I don't know where their parent is, maybe outside or whatever. And instantly, when I see them, they make them spit. Every time I see these human beings, they're just going to do nasty things, perverted things, evil things. They're just going to make them spit right that moment you see a human passing you by or whatever. The animals, if I see them instantly, they make them pee. You get me? Like that. So this is signs of the end of the world. Indecency that's coming. It's going to torture all of you. But don't forget, you know, the truth is coming. Good is coming. Okay, so don't be scared. But I was trying to say that, right? That when they teach a kid to do that evil and they possess them to do that, exactly, then they put that into my head instead of just the conduct, right? Instead of the fact that the kid obviously has an immoral quality. So obviously I don't then treat them like good kids, right? Okay, but then instead of just that, right? Instead of just the evil in them, they project what you're thinking of, right? That your brain is naturally judging to the way they look, the way God created them. You get me? And they say to me, look, it's not really a human with beauty. So you get me? They're trying to get you to have that arrogance of looking down on people who are not as good looking as you. Okay, so protect yourself from that. Some animals are the same. You get me? Animals are the same too. They're right more beautiful than each other. So just be careful with that mocking. Be careful with that mocking, that arrogance, and that sort of hatred they'll try to instill in you. You get me? The fact that you look at a human, you think they're not beautiful is not a sin because they're actually not. You get me? We're actually more beautiful than each other. Okay, but two, the other type of uh, stuff about beauty itself, which is exactly the opposite gender, healthy age gap than you, which is not more than 5 years. I always tell you guys my advice is not more than 4. But, God has guided me to that, yeah, maximum 5. Um, but I think 4 is extreme. Okay, so for that reason, um, sorry, brain fog, because they keep walking by me. These are very demonic people. Like you see their appearance, they look like it. They look very evil. Their body doesn't look normal. You get it? Because you start to look weird when you're evil, obviously. And they do this when I record episodes for you guys. See, they're talking to me now. Why are you saying hello to me? You know? And literally, this evil just overcame me that wanted to say piece of garbage. They see, it's a curse. It's a witchcraft when he said hello. They possess this pervert male to say hello. He's old as hell. And this is the other things they're going to do, right? The perversion they've always been doing in human history. Making someone who is older than you talk to you. So a male who's that older than me, we would say 5 years and older, has no right to talk to me. Do you understand me? That's perversion. Because if I walk around this earth and I see a boy that's 4 years and 5 years younger than me, right, more than that, I'm not gonna see you like a man my age. You see what I mean? So that's perversion. So don't treat them normally. Humans who are older than you greeting you. I don't mean someone working, right? Because they're just doing that to welcome you to a business. Sometimes neighbors and humans do that out of decency. So the intention matters. This one is obviously doing that out of perversion. You see? So yes, he's evil and filthy, right? I can say something to him like, which means like may something bad happen to you, because that's a punishment I'm cursing him with. But instantly they want me to learn cussing and piece of garbage. They want me to say that. So you see, it's connected, because that wasn't me who wanted to say it. It's when they said hello, something came over me, like my mouth, like it's like they're trying to put it into my mouth. So that means they put a witchcraft on me with the hello, They're very creepy, very nasty, and very perverted. And just so you know, when they harass me with perverted humans, they pick ones who are, in terms of appearance, very ugly compared to a beautiful person, So that's just another way to then increase the indecency they want us to learn, right? Instead of focusing on the immorality they did, the evil human they are is what we're hating about them, right? But as a human, we treat them with justice, and we're just neutral to them. We just get away from them. They want you to cuss them out and make it seem as if this is moral way to cuss them. No, cussing is never moral. If I ever said that in past episodes, like cussing someone out who harasses you, I don't mean like cussing like bad words. I mean like belaya kuda, even though it's like a curse, it just means may God punish you or something. It's like may something bad happen to you. That's what I meant. I don't mean calling people B words and other bad derogatory terms. In terms about their skin color, there you go. Terms about their body, their height, anything about the way God created them, and maybe the way that they started to become because of this sin. You just obviously talk about it. That's why I say things like they're creepy. Exactly. Well, we're not calling someone God created, as we would say, not beautiful. We're not calling them creepy, right? It's not to hurt them. When we say creepy, we mean perversion, So that's what I mean. The perversion is making them creepy. But in terms of the way their body looks, exactly. I see many of them and I think they're not nice looking. You get me? But that doesn't mean then I take away their humanity if I feel that way, or that I committed a sin. No, that they really are like that compared to me. And there's people more beautiful than me. You get me? But we treat each other with decency. So it's the same for animals. Some are, see, demons harassed me and I turned it into wisdom for you guys. Yeah, they're going to try to do the same with animals. And all they're doing is they're just standing there and they're staring in my direction. That's not a person that moment. They use their face to just watch my direction. That's all they do. All they want to do is come outside and just watch me as I record these episodes. So, they're not people, And there you go. All I feel right now, if you were to ask me what's going on, I feel extreme anger and rage and violence coming over me, because that's a demon, not a person. Anytime the demon leaves their body and they sort of mind their business, I don't get that sort of emotion coming over me anymore. You get me? So just understand they're putting that into you as a person. For anyone that you notice or a demographic that you notice, that's how that type of stuff comes over you. For me, it's because they're evil, right? I have a reason. But they want to make it seem as if maybe it's towards their race, or they want you to confuse. They want to confuse you sometimes. Why you're feeling those emotions come over you? It's because that human, that moment, is working with a demon. They're evil. They're harassing you. So maybe that's why you felt violent towards them, right? They're doing evil towards you. You have the right to feel the healthy moral version of hatred and anger. Okay, but don't express it, correct? Because it's not your feeling. You just understand why it's able to project that to you. It's because they're projecting it to you. Understand? It's easy to project it to you and make you think it's yours. Because, right, you already hate bad people as a human being overall. So if you're bad yourself, obviously you don't to some degree. And that's the morality you need to adapt and get. You need to have morality now. Okay, they're making me go in different topics because they're distracting me. So animals, right, they're the same in their appearance. So don't say bad things about them. Don't cuss them out. The same way you wouldn't treat a human, right? Like I explained, in the way God created them, their appearance, their limitations, disability, anything like that. They deserve the same rights. And I don't want you to think I'm telling you to be nice to these other species like humans, or that I'm telling you to be nice to humans too. No, it's a sin. You get me? It's actually a sin to speak derogatory of them or their disabilities, or how, right, they're not ugly to insult you, but ugly as in like you're not beautiful, right? Some are like that, but what's your intention, right? Are you calling someone ugly to hurt them, or are you, because maybe someone asked you what you think of them, you're saying, no, I don't, that human is not beautiful, that human is not good looking, or maybe they're not ugly, but compared to you, you're the one who's prettier. That sort of way, right? It's just about explaining something. It's just about explaining your opinion. But it's not about insulting them. It's not about the ugly of, hey, you ugly. It's not that one. So you need to be careful with that. Demons will try to make it seem as if it's not a sin, but it's just mean or something. You know? It is a sin too. Anything that's hurtful in these ways that we would say is unjust, right, is also going to be sin for you to do. I'm just saying they might try to accidentally make you say things because we, right, would be aggressive to evil humans. So if they're evil, but then they're also very not good looking, right, then they might try to push you to think it's okay to then talk about their appearance, you know? No, don't let them corrupt you that way. Separate the immoralities they have that we are obviously cursing and talking about and describing and calling them weird, right, from you calling them creepy just because they're dark toned, maybe, because, right, or they have a long nose. You just the type of features that many humans would say they don't find beautiful. You know what I mean? Okay, be careful with that. Separate their character from their appearance. Same for the animals. Separate the way some animal maybe you had in the past or other animals have acted. Perverted, nasty, evil, strange, weird, demonic, attacked you maybe, like that. Separate that from the fact that there's animals over there who are wonderful in their morality, who are wonderful animals who would never do that. Even if you try to teach them, they won't learn it. You get, that's what I'm saying. It's just like a human. They that's not their way. They're not gonna go that way. And separate that from just the way you view animals. Because one thing demons do is they possess humans and animals to do evil to you, even pests, right? You remember that as a trauma in the past, and then they try to get you to become evil to them now, violent to them, or entertain it, the hatred towards them, sort of like, let's do this to them. Oh, I hate this. No, it's just like you saying the human race should all be responsible for a criminal over there who killed someone unjustly. It's like that. You get me? Don't put what 1, 2, 3 animals you saw in front of you do, or just immoralities you have. Don't link that to their species and be unjust to the innocent animals. And the ones who actually did do evil around you or to you, exactly just like the evil human that God would tell you to punish accordingly. And he's going to punish in obviously hellfire in this world accordingly. Which is exactly, you just defend yourself against the animal. You don't let them be around you, right? If they were like an animal you had, you don't abandon them, obviously. You go to the government or shelter or something and tell someone what they did, or like that. Don't exaggerate and lie more. But turn them in, basically. You give me just as you turn a criminal in, you turn a criminal animal in. You tell people what they did, maybe extremely perverted, strange, weird animal, and you tell people, hey, I don't want this cat anymore as a companion animal or dog, or this is what they do, and you guys train it and teach it to be normal and decent. But I don't want it in my home and in my life, right? Don't say that. Say, this animal, um, just like an evil human, it has learned to do evil conduct, such as, and you describe it. Therefore, I will not agree, and I don't want to have them. See, you're using them instead of it. I don't want to have them in my life anymore. Don't say things like my house, because it seems like some sort of dominance thing, like your house. They didn't ask to come to your house. You get me? You guys took them from their natural habitat and, right, trained them in you're the ones being weird, okay? So don't treat them like your house, like they somehow are invading your home, or when someone makes you feel like you don't belong somewhere, like that. That's sort of racism. Don't talk like that about them. Oh, my house. People are not gonna. You get me? No one's gonna call it their house also anyway, as if they pay rent with you. So you don't have to say my house, right? Just be careful with how you speak. Just simply say you don't want them in your life. That's better. Why you have to describe a house, right? They could have been in a car too, right? At the same time as you. It's not worth it. Just say you don't want them in your life anymore. The same way you describe evil humans. You don't want them in your life anymore. So instead of abandoning them or leaving them in the street, even though they're evil, right? Just so that they don't cause problems for society. See, you're doing it from a moral place, not from a weakness. As if God is telling you to take care of predators. No. Right? Perverted, nasty animal. No. It's just so they don't cause danger and problems for society. So you're forbidding evil and enjoying good. You're protecting others and yourself. Right? You don't leave a rapist, a murderer in the street. If you saw it, right, you would turn them in like that. You don't want that evil, right? You don't want that evil outside. They're human. We're not calling them that evil. You get me? What they are. You're not leaving that evil outside. So you're telling them, therefore, duh, you're not gonna allow them to just go out and be a threat to others. And two, you have a responsibility. You agree? Just like when you see a crime, if you ignore it, that's evil and a sin. You saw this animal commit crimes like around you and to you, correct? Like that. So it's like you saying, I don't see anything. So you have to turn them in. You have to tell the people who are caring for animals, right, what this animal has done, so that they know to protect themselves, but also know the evil so that they know the evil they have done. And okay, you protect them. You're holding the animal accountable that way. And then, right, because people know what they have done. See, I have to constantly protect my mouth from having the word it come over it. They're trying to put that into my words. Like that. Let's call them they. Let's call them she and he, the way, right, they are. Okay? And then you say to people, okay, I'm leaving. You guys deal with the evil they've done, and like that. They're gonna train that animal and at least keep it out of the streets, right? Because it's a threat to allow they're gonna, right, keep the animal in their sort of shelter or wherever that they have the right you went to, and they're gonna make sure the animal doesn't go outside in that sense, right? Because they're gonna be a threat. Okay, but God is gonna guide us, right, into how to deal with these situations. I mean, if an animal has committed the same type of evil that a human would commit, that would make the human get killed, right? Rape or murder. Be careful with murder for them, right? But I mean, like, then they deserve death too. That's not rational. If an animal actually, you get me? You know what I mean, right? They're animals. Technically, these things wouldn't come from them, like rape and stuff. But if they actually did something, you and I would say, if we observe it, you get me, you have to be careful, right? Um, if you actually observe them, and they've actually done these heinous crimes that an evil human could do, right? For this rape and stuff, obviously the male, then okay, it's okay to kill them. You get me? It's okay to kill animals who are like that, who deserve death, just like a bad human like this level who deserves death. But if they've committed something smaller, exactly, then it's just like a human. You would just, right, create punishments for them, right? Um, you incarcerate them and stuff for some time. And in that time, people are teaching them what they did wrong. You know how you talk to them. Like that, it's just like that. Um, but a human, you're not going to really do that when they're in prison. Hey, you know that stealing was bad. They're different, you get me? Um, but either way, people are doing that anyway. When the judge is giving them a conviction, either way, without saying it, hey, you did wrong, they already are saying you did wrong, right? When they say you have 2 years in jail. So that's what you want to do for the animals. So that then, right, since it was a small crime, they can come out, right? Don't starve them and do evil things. I told you, common sense. It's just punishment. You're not trying to kill them because starvation is like that. And this wouldn't fit the situation because that's from a place of cruelty, right? Not from a place of punishment. So it belongs to an evil human what they do. Then okay, when they go out back to society, now they can coexist with society, right? The other animals and humans because they've been trained. So it's just common sense. Whatever we would do for humans in that balance of what they do, animals would fall into the same categories, and you would need to treat them with the same balance. What else do I need to talk about? So yeah, stop doing weird things to animals. That nail that I was talking about, right? It should just be just visualize a really long nail, very dangerous. You would just clip the first few, I'm trying to be careful with my words. If you're thinking, why do I keep pausing? It's because I'm trying to pick my words carefully. I'm under mental attack right now. You just cut off the first portion of that. That's it, so that it doesn't get hurt. Right? So that the actual part of the nails that you and I have, you know, if someone had nails that are not too long, the healthy, decent level, you're not going to that all the way back to the root. You're not damaging that. Don't touch that. Just like for a human, you wouldn't hurt them there. But the females who have these extremely fake long nails, like that, if you were to chop that fake part off, it's like that. That's all you're chopping off with a very simple and not harmful, not sharp, not painful, right? Object for the animals also. They're not going to have a problem with it because you're treating them with morality now. When they resist and fight with you, just so you know, people say, oh, the animal's always fighting with me when I try to cut his nails, because exactly those humans are doing something against the nature of the animal. So they're resisting with you. It's like their way of teaching you, hey, this is wrong and sinful. And that's God's way of also guiding you that it's wrong. But if you do it in this balance and you don't do it all the time, right? You're not obsessed with their nails. You're not obsessed with giving them showers. Again, that sort of indecency of torturing them with it, right? Oh, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, you're going to have a shower. No. Not only are they animals, and it's sort of different, right? They don't need to have a shower like you and I every day. But you're hurting them because, one, they're not picking when, right? Like you get to pick for yourself. So you enjoy it because, right, it's you making decisions for yourself, and for them, right, the times have to be fair and just for them, since they're not necessarily the ones putting the shower on themselves, right? You're helping them with it. You get me? So you can't just do what you want for that reason. You have to work together, and then exactly, not too much. Just once, as people obviously will teach you, humans have researched this, right? And they know the sort of decent level to help animals. They're not going to tell you to give them a shower maybe 2-3 times a week, obviously, like that. And for shower, I would say the just moral thing right now is just to use water for them. instead of soap and all this stuff, chemicals. It's not fair for them. It's different than your body and mine. Two, because you chose that for yourself. So even if you're like, oh, it's the same effect on us, still bad for us to some degree. Okay, but did you not make that choice? So that's why you don't care. You don't care because it's you who's choosing to do it. But are they having that sort of free will in this case when you're acting like they're your animal companion? No, right? You're the one giving them a shower. You're the one taking care of them. So what they want is not being put into perspective. So that's why it's wrong for you to think whatever you're okay with, you can do it to them. No, you get me? Because it's another living being, like another person. You get me? So you're only allowed to do the decent stuff for them. You get me? Like helping them take a shower. But you're not doing it on a level where it's the way you would do for yourself, because then that's not decent anymore. So God is only allowing you to do things for them that the devil could try to make you then think you have authority over them, right? Because you're the one helping them take a shower. But God reminds you, it's not you being an authority over them, but it's just you helping them, just like they help you fight off certain things that are dangerous or bad. They help you too. They protect you. Are they an authority? No, right? So it's the same concept. So he's showing you you're helping them, not being an authority over them if you stay within that limit. Well, you're just simply taking care of them. But you're not doing things that are not rational for them, that you think is okay for yourself. It's rational that you use water to help them wash, right? But it's not rational for you to put soap and chemicals on them. Exactly, because that's human evolvement. You've evolved to introduce that. That's not nature. That's not how things used to be. So this stuff is extra, and it's not like water. It's not clean. It's not safe. God created water, so it's different. See, that's another reason why I keep calling things nature. Is the ones that God himself made up. That's what we would call nature. But things that humans produced, you created backpacks and clothing, we wouldn't call that nature. We would just call it nature that you're clothed yourself, that you're not naked. We wouldn't call the materials, right, that you guys are making versus the way they were when you took those ones from the way they were originally, right? Wool and stuff, and wherever you first got it from, and then you made it into clothing, right? We're not going to say what you produce, right? Like soaps is nature. No. Cleanliness is nature, but not the soaps. So you want to always stay within that nature, the basics, so that, right, the cleanliness is given to animals, but not the way you do it for yourself, because that's not their nature. You're producing this stuff for your skin, your body, and exactly, even if you're like, you're right, it's bad for me too. Exactly, you don't care. So you're not going to use the fact that you don't care about something, how bad it affects you, to then make it seem as if it's okay to do that to other species or others who can't speak for themselves in that vocal way like a human. You get me? Because you have to make sure, since you're doing this to help them. See, I didn't say for them, because I don't want that fake dominance in your head. Since you're doing this to help them, you have to always stay at the basic level. Even though soaps are nice, even though these things are not bad, in order to protect their health, but everything is always about logic. If there's soaps and things that you can use, obviously humans have been doing it for years, that don't hurt them, right? Don't cause them problems, or they've been made in a way that God has. See, I say God, right? I didn't say humans, because humans do bad things. Demons inspire them to. The human beings who God himself has actually taught them effective ways of, right, cleaning items that is actually for animals. Like that, if they actually are out there, I'm sure they are, then that's what you're going to use. Because you get me, if humans actually have evidence of it, it works. It's safe. It doesn't cause problems for animals like that. So I'm not limiting you. I'm just saying you stay at the nature, the basic, right, the level, because that's they're right. That's morality. But if you find something better, right, a better way to clean, then you just make sure you use logic to make sure it's safe. So you see how everything I told you is just common sense, but if you just have to use it. You can't just be like, I'm just going to do what my neighbors do. No, you have to keep using logic to make sure this species doesn't lose their rights. Because a lot of things you do for yourself is not fair for them. They're not your species. Two, you're not their authority. So there's a lot of things you cannot do for them, because then that's you acting like you can make them submissive to you. So this is actually about immorality and not necessarily something not being their choice, like what soap you use, which then would also the choice part would fall into immorality too, right? Because if it causes disease and stuff, that's immorality. You're hurting them. So just be fair to them. You don't want them in your life anymore. It's not sinful, obviously, to dislike an animal as being in your life, right? You just don't want a dog anymore. You don't want a cat anymore. Well, it's just dislike. Just like you don't like that human being your friend. You get me? It's not a sin. So I don't think disliking, hating something the moral way, right, where you don't like to be around that type of being or that object, that's not you being sinful. Sinful is the evil type of hatred. You get me? That comes from envy. And if there's technically no envy, then just hatred. Like, ooh, you hate them. You wish bad on them. You don't care what happens to them. You think you can act dominant. You give me the bad type of hatred, not the normal and moral type of hatred, which is just preference type of hatred, right? I don't like pizza. No, I don't like pizza. I only like pasta. You know what I like that? Is that immoral? No, because it's about preference. You're not, since I was walking, sorry, you're not treating the pizza, right, with an evil hatred, the evil type of hatred, which would, if you were to be like, give me examples, you would crush it every time you see it, you stomp on it. And just so you know, you're not supposed to do that to objects too, like food, because food is not the same as, right, a rock, right, or a trash that maybe you can kick with your feet. Just don't do that from an immoral place. Always, I mean it. Even objects, God is not okay with you kicking them and doing things even from an evil place versus, oh, get out of my way, I'm gonna trip. You get me? You kicked it for that normal reason. But are you just kicking things? You're just breaking things? You're just hitting light bulbs all day? Well, that's immoral now. That's from a place of violence and just hurting the environment. So do you see, God just doesn't want you to do anything that is just bad. That's just horrible. That's just hurting the society, the environment, the way things are supposed to be, a species, the way like that, and yourself. So even objects have rights, because you could say a building is an object. Can you go and demolish it right now? No, right? Because we would say it belongs to someone. But let's say it didn't belong to someone. Well, that's an act of violence. You're just breaking things apart. See, even objects have rights, okay? But not the rights, right, obviously, of a living being. We just mean they have rights within their level. You get me? You don't attack them. You don't. So everything basically needs what? Good intention. You need to have reason, and the reason can only be moral. Within these limits that I told you, you can just use common sense to keep going off from every situation, and you'll understand the other things I obviously don't give an example of. But, right, what was I talking about? Talking about something really important. But, right, yeah, if you don't want a specific animal in your life, it's just like not wanting a specific human in your life. Exactly, the way you treat them morally, right? They just know you don't want them in your life, and they're gonna leave, right? It's that simple. Did you cuss them? Did you curse them? Did you do evil to them? Did you gossip about them? Did you like that? Don't do bad. Just disassociate the relationship. So disassociate that, companionship with the species of animals. Just take them to a shelter, and that's it. Tell them sometimes, or if that's maybe the way. It's okay. They'll understand. They're not obsessed with you. Now, that's what a weird way where some of them act obsessive. Some of it comes from demons, to be honest, right? Because they don't need you. Animals are their own creation. They're independent also. Two, you're not their God, so why does it matter if you leave them? So some of them act too weird, right? That's that some of it is just that the human who's unhealthy, the way they're also attached to abusive humans. Are you going to say that's love or normal? No, that's bad. Why would they be attached to someone abusive, right? That's creepy. So God didn't create you to be attached to evil humans, just so you know. He didn't create you to actually love someone who's bad. Okay? So don't bring love with evil. Evil and love cannot come together. Because love is just morality. It just means good. So can good and evil mix? No, it's always good versus evil. Or we put the word VS in the middle, right? And a point after that. It's the same. For then the concepts within more are good, right? Love is just a concept. And just so you know, good just means love. And evil just means hate. So exactly, love and evil cannot mix, because love and hate cannot mix, because evil is just another term for hate. So you see why I keep telling you what types of hates are out there, the normal one and the evil one, so that some people don't make it seem as if you're a bad person if you have preferences. It's disgusting, especially when they talk about who you're attracted to. What? You're gonna treat human beings like some object now? That's disgusting. This is sexuality. This is who you want to touch your private parts. Of course you have preferences. Of course you don't like some races maybe, or of course you don't like some body types. Goodbye. Don't bring that nonsense and filth to us. That's perversion who does that to you. Because there you go. It's treating you like property. Exactly. Treating you like a piece of garbage. This thing is a piece of garbage. Exactly. See how that fits? Piece of garbage. Garbage is an object. And it fits into the object part. And they try to put that into our words sometimes to cuss people out. And we're human, right? We can understand why someone evil, since that we obviously evil deserves a lot of hatred, right? The moral type of hatred, right? It's understandable. We've all learned in human history to say things like, you piece of something, you know? So, yeah. We would replace that, right? My advice is for us to replace that with us saying things that is explaining why we don't like them. Like, I sometimes say something like evil witch. You're using their terminology, right? That's their quality to label them, but it's a terminology that's actually true because they really are a witch, right? Or, you disgusting wicked doer. Like, that's something that describes their evil, you know? The evil character they have and the evil conducts they do. Like that, but not their race, not their ethnicity, not their gender, right? Not their age, not their religious affiliation, right? Even if the religion is fake and bad. Also, too, if you ask me, like, what's another reason? Another reason is there could be people in that religion who are not bad, but maybe they just follow maybe some good parts of that religion, like that. And either way, you don't intend to cuss them out, do you? Or hate them anyway, do you? So that's another thing. It makes you look like you hate the whole group, and you're like, no, I don't. It was just this. There you go. So it's to protect you too. It's also to protect you, you know, because you're not attributing something to yourself that you don't believe in. So as a male, if females have harassed you or did horrible things to you in your life, just like many males target certain females, right? They don't know each other, but she might have been harassed every now and then by different males like that. It's just bad people exist. Sooner or later, it's gonna come from a gender repeatedly at some point, right? So that's what I'm saying. You could take that into consideration. When I see bad people, I just see bad. I don't study which percentage was the gender. I don't do that. It's not rational. Because exactly, I could have just had that experience. Or could we find a similar number of females who are evil, who could also be used by demons to harass you? Yes. So you see how dumb it is? Just because you didn't see that as what you saw or witnessed doesn't mean it's not possible. So don't do sin. Don't hurt something good like a gender, a race. Those things are good things. Just so you know. I don't want you to think the reason is bad is because innocent people are in the gender. No, that's the second reason. The first reason is gender, right? Like actual female, male are actually good things. God created that. The only thing God created is he also created evil. And okay, when you're sort of hating a group, you're really just hating the evil they have. Okay, so just describe the evil. You can just, what is it? You know, what do they do? Okay, but sexist human beings, they're just gonna, right, from both genders, attribute qualities that are normal, such as being independent, being outspoken, being intelligent, with being feminist, or being sexist, or just bad things. You know, they're gonna call that bad stuff. And feminists just, again, common sense always. Demons flip everything. In human history, it just meant, right, they had, I'm sure, good intention. I'm sure they just wanted to help themselves. Because human beings are ignorant usually when they're going through a lot of abuse and suffering, right? The first group that comes out usually doesn't know what to do, right? They learn over time. So they could have just come up with the name feminist, which is a horrible word, right? Because Justice means justice. You don't want to create a term for your gender or race. But again, since you also are trying to make sure people understand what you're speaking against, right? And evil against children, for example, are you going to then say, let's pick a generic term? No, right? Because then it doesn't really let someone know what your purpose is, right, for your group. So it's normal that they pick names that is centered on females because exactly they go through certain evil that males don't go through. So it's very logical that some groups want to be outspoken about a certain evil that happens to a group that's not evil or sexist or bad of them. So that's not a sin for them to call themselves feminist, or you get me. Evil comes to different demographics. So at some point, you're maybe witnessing that at a high number in your city or community, and you want to talk about it. You're not going to just talk about evil to everybody. That's confusing. You get me? Because you're trying to stop some sort of crime or some sort of bad behavior that maybe is not considered crime. So of course you have to give it a group name. Exactly. It has to be specific because God created different types of evil. There's evil that attacks your health. If you just pick a generic term for evil overall, now you're going to talk about health, beauty, aging, like every area of our life and other species, all the evil that attacks it, that's too much. That's dumb. You're going to get tired and overwhelmed. You're not even going to talk about your purpose or your goal. So, you get me? It's normal for humans to pick a name and talk about their cause because exactly that type of evil is what they're attacking, and that's moral. But if they were to say they don't care about anything else, well, then they're being immoral in that situation. That doesn't mean that you say this cause then is useless. You get me? Be just with them. What they're doing something good here. So acknowledge it. Don't ever push them off and be like, I don't want to listen to you because you don't care about us. No. Say good job to them. Acknowledge them because we are human beings. We're supposed to uplift each other. If someone doesn't have enough morality, we're supposed to help them. But also we're supposed to be just. So even if you're like, I don't want to uplift anybody, well, then it's about morality. It's about being just. So, okay, they really are talking about a certain cause and it's true. Then, okay, you acknowledge it. You tell them you're right. And we stand with you. We understand. What should we do to help each other? But you guys are evil to this group like that. Then you hold them accountable for the area there. Now being unjust. You see what I mean? So don't let shaitan, right, or demons or devil push you from acknowledging someone is actually telling you something true and good, because then they like to reject something over there and not acknowledge the correct perspective on it. It just means there's some evil in them, and maybe they care about that cause because who knows, someone pushed them or brainwashed them to care for it, and they don't, right? They don't even care. They're not even a good person in that way. Right? Because then you might be like, if they're a good person, they care about every group. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if you're like, they don't care about a group they should care about, right? They don't care about kids, but they care about males or females who are adults, right? Or they care about animals, but they don't care about, like that, you get me? Just know there's some evil there. It's not rational, right? If you're moral, you care about everybody. But in order to, right, be just with them, you don't treat them like they're useless and don't care about anything. Even if in your head you're like, but if they don't care about these ones, then how do they care about these ones that you're telling me they work for as a cause? We're not saying that. Only God knows their intention. Don't worry about things like that. That's not your problem. I'm just saying don't devalue them when they tell you the truth. When they say women suffer this way and you know that, agree with it. Don't fight with that. And you now committed a sin against women overall in this person because they don't like to acknowledge a suffering that you males suffer. You see what I'm saying? That's where you get to now share with them how males suffer. Do you see? This is about teaching each other as human beings more morality than you already have. It's about correcting each other. It's about helping each other, holding each other accountable. It's not about fighting, you know? If this was about fighting, if this was about, hey, we don't care about your cause because you don't care about our cause, then God would just not send you prophets and messengers. He would just send you punishment. He sends you people to correct you and discipline you and help you and guide you because he's always saying they can change. He's already telling you as a God, those humans can change, and that's something he values or cares about. that they can change. Don't worry about the fact that you don't like that because they pissed you off. Oh, they're so sexist in this area. Don't worry about that. But they act like they care about animals. I'm telling you right now, if a human being is unjust to any demographic that God has created, then they're not a good person. So if they act like they really care about animals, but then they're so sexist to women, they actually do not care about animals. You see what I'm saying? So you're not wrong. You're not wrong to think they're fake. I'm just saying, don't tell them. Don't look at them and say that to them, because then they and their demon are going to say, okay, and get worse. And our job is to help them not continue to be the way they are, the evil they are. And our job is to help them come to this place of guidance where they develop love now, because that's what they lack. You might be like, okay, telling us to guide and help people, but how? Just love, just teach them these qualities I teach you every day. I might tell you people's rights and something is sinful or not, but what is the central theme you notice every time I tell you what's just and unjust? I'm just telling you where we all have to operate from a place of love, right? And not hatred. So you just tell them, you know what? You have some hatred to this group. There's some hatred in you, and that's not fair and that's not okay. And you personally as a human would not look at me and tell me it's okay to treat this group like that. So exactly, hold them accountable. We're not saying be weak. Hold them accountable, okay? But don't do that when you don't understand maybe what they're talking about, because sometimes you don't have understanding of a group or what you're talking about. And now it becomes an argument. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You're unjust, that you racist. That it's going to turn into that quality I told you that the demons are trying to teach you. You get me? Cussing and cursing each other out. The type of cursing that's sinful. You know what I mean? Not the cursing like, may God punish you today. That's the other kind of curse, the spiritual curse. You get me? All they want is for you guys to cuss each other out and just turn everything that you're arguing about into your physical features and racial and you get me? Because that's already what the evil is about. When someone is sexist, aren't they targeting a group based on their gender? Okay, so that's why then they want you to cuss them out. At some point, they're going to teach you to cuss them out from a place of their gender. Now you committed a sin. So it's a slow way to also teach you. Exactly. To develop the quality you actually didn't want to do. You just wanted to have a conversation with them. But they're so difficult, right? They don't want to be just and fair. And that's a way for them not to try to teach you. Again, doesn't mean then it's okay or it's fair when demons try to teach you. No, you have to be bad in the heart for you to accept what they're teaching you. I'm just saying, when they try to teach you, right, they're going to pick a quality of them that has nothing to do with the evil they are. Because why would demons do that? That's being just, right? If you not ridicule goodness, if you, right, judge their evil character, instead they're going to teach you, right, to attack their qualities that are normal and good, that is sinful for you to say something about, such as their gender, their race, their age, you get me? Their level of wealth, right? They're poor or not. So you see, they want us to see someone is unjust to someone. They know we will have a desire to correct them, but then slowly they want to teach you to then you become immoral and be sexist now and be racist now and just hate that group. Does that mean then you having a good intention of stopping their injustice led you to be sexist and hateful now and racist? No, they're not connected. It's the same way you develop these qualities without this type of situation, you being in this situation with people. Exactly the same way you're developing this sexism, this racism, this other hatred of other groups when you're in conversation with them. It's just, I'm saying they're going to put that into your heart. This didn't cause it, because something good cannot cause something bad. Good does not cause evil. Evil causes more evil. So they're just going to teach you. You see what I mean? Just as you interact with them, just like when you don't interact with them, you just mind your business in society. You're a male and you see females. Just as, right, they put thoughts into your head to hate them from that evil hatred, right? The sexism or some other way, even if it's not sexism, just hatred, right? Again, it would technically be sexism because you're picking a gender, right? Since it's not to humans, right? Just as, right, through thoughts and feelings, they teach you that. I'm saying in conversations with people, when you're trying to stop each other from one lying or something, Exactly. They're still going to try to put thoughts and feelings in your mind again of immorality, of that envy and that hatred to whoever exactly you're interacting with. So it doesn't mean that situation caused it. They just want to use this interaction to cause it. So don't link it to the situation. It doesn't mean you are really judging them for an immorality and you actually develop sexism all of a sudden. No, that's not possible. You know? See, now that kid came out. He looks happier now. They're really poor, you know? They look like the Africans in Africa who have nothing, even though this is the United States. You get me? Because the thing is, even if these human beings, like let's say, who are struggling financially in these countries, right? Even if they have things like EBT or other things or welfare, they learn, get it? Because they're highly possessed. They're the ones that are used to persecute people. You get me? They just come outside. They just used to harass people. It's easy for demons. You get me? Because they possess them heavily. It's easy. And some could be rich, okay? It doesn't matter. It's easy for them to use them to exactly dress in a horrible way and not take care of their cleaning and also not use the resources available to them in the country. It's a wealthy country. You can use the EBT, you can use the welfare system, you can use things like Section 8, all these nonprofits, all these shelters. That's why God made me homeless before, because he wants me to see what's available to people so then I can see the government is not lying when they say these people don't like to get out of their homelessness. Because exactly, then that evil demon will come out that will call you something. Since this one wouldn't be racist, sexist, right? They're gonna call you some other name that is sort of saying you're biased. Exactly against the poor or the homeless. Oh, how dare you? The government limits them. It's not them. No, you get me? We have to be just. There are ways governments limit poor people, no matter what type of poor they are, right? They have a job or not, homeless or not. They have things, but maybe they're on Section 8, like that, whichever level of poverty, including the middle class and the rich. They also are unjust to the rich. They take too much money from them. Just because they're wealthy doesn't mean you take their money. They earn their money. We need just. We need to help each other, not steal from each other. Goodness, just because you have more blessings than me doesn't mean I get to take more from you. That blessing doesn't belong to me. I can't take it from you because you have it and I don't. That's like me saying your hard work belongs to me as a wealthy or rich person. Because I'm poor. Give me some of your money. Pay more taxes. No. So God will teach you how to deal with the wealthy. You get me? It doesn't mean they have to pay more taxes. Only God knows that. Money just can flow. Money can flow in a fair way where one, everyone gets out of poverty, but then two, money can flow in a way that everyone pays in a way that we would say one group is not paying too much. You get me? Whether they're poor or rich. You're not going to then say, well, let's call it the poor pay too much. That's unjust. But it's not unjust if the rich pay too much. You see? Because you're still being biased. You're still picking on a group. Who taught you that? Where did God ever teach you if they're wealthy, take more money from them? You get me? Isn't their money just like their beauty? It belongs to them. It doesn't belong to society. So this arrogance of thinking other people's blessings, we can take it from them or share it with them, is exactly what causes sexism and all this filth of rape and all this objectification to the human body. That evil entering evil males and then saying, well, those females should do this for us, do that for us, and do this for us, and blah, and one day they go and harm her. There's this evil demon always trying to teach you all to treat each other like one, you're dominant over each other. Two, you're God over each other. Three, you can control each other. Four, you can take things from each other just because that one doesn't have it. Instead of from a place of mercy, wealthy people just give you money. You see what's going on? Just like if you ask me, can I use your phone? You wouldn't take my phone because you have no phone. You're not going to say it to the government, put her in prison. She doesn't want to share her phone with me. That's what I'm saying. That phone is like their wealth. You get me? Is this quality of treating human beings like you can take things from them that God gave them as a blessing because you don't have it. So that's why I always said sexist, perverted males, they jealous of women. They don't hate women, okay? Hatred cannot come out without envy. And you might think, wait a minute, but they're two different genders. How can envy technically exist between them? Well, they're not going to be jealous of their beauty. They have a different body. Exactly. It's just a blessing. Well, whatever blessings God gave women, he also gave males blessings. So at some point, they corrupt the male to be jealous of the blessings of women. It could even be a specific area and not necessarily the whole gender. You get me? Just that city, the females there could be rich, you see, and he's poor. And exactly, if maybe males were wealthy in his city and he's the only poor male, then they could teach him to be that way to them. Okay, so he might target them another way. He might be a thief. So do you see what I'm saying? The central theme is the same. It's always that envy, that hatred, and then wanting to hurt, harass, harm, take away from people, act dominant over them. But because evil is different, right? There's different types of evil, right? One becomes perverted, sexist, one becomes racist, right? Because the evil is targeting different demographics. What then the evil human could do, and also based on their gender, right? Males and females cannot do the same evil. What the evil human could do based on their, right, gender, and then what they could do based on who they're targeting is then gonna change. Exactly. It's gonna differentiate. It's gonna be different things that can come out of it. So then don't think then they all didn't have the same root of envy. And I'm telling you, just observe the males who usually are sexist. They usually have some poverty or something. Or maybe they're not very good looking, you know? Something, okay? Something you would say has nothing to do with his gender. Just a limitation, just some sort of lack of something. And he might just target females in that city, his college, his workplace that have that wealth or that beauty or something. And now you see, they just need some envy. They don't care what the envy is. It has nothing to do with the gender, the way they look. That's weird. That's creepy. It's not rational. God created him as a different gender. Why would he care what she looks like? That's what I'm saying. They're just making him envious of the female for things that anyone can have, male or female. Okay, but then they're going to teach them to then all of a sudden connect his envy, right, to her gender. Okay, now they're going to teach him to be perverted and sexist in a now completely different way. And now they're going to try to make him a predator. Do you see what's going on? So it all goes back to this quality of acting dominant over each other. Thinking you can take things from each other if one has something. Okay, everyone. How easy evil is how easy it is to understand it. Get this envy and hatred out of your heart. No one owes you anything on this earth. No one is your property, no matter what their species is. Whether they're your children or your friends or your family, no one owes anybody anything. Islam is corrupted to say you can't cut off family. You can cut them off. Any evil human, you have the right to get them out of your life and call the cops on them if they commit crime. Just like a stranger. Justice is justice. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Take care of yourself.